There have been 31 different teams to make the playoffs since 2017 and 22 teams to play at least 3 playoff games since 2017. But the only team to go winless in at least 3 trips to the playoffs is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've made the playoffs 5 times since 2017, but are 0-5. And unfortunately, the way their schedule sets up this year, it's tough to imagine they're possibly going to be rolling well enough to win a playoff game. Here's why. They play in Ireland week 4 and have the earliest bye week possible in week 5. That means they're playing for weeks at end without rest. From week 7, their schedule ranks number 1 most difficult based upon the opponents they play, and number 3 most difficult based upon the rest they're dealt. If this sounds similar to Steelers fans, that's because last year it was quite similar. Last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers had the number 1 toughest schedule, including an absolute gauntlet from week 11 onward. Of course, the Steelers were sitting at 7-2 and in first place in the AFC North before they hit that gauntlet. And then, in their final 8 games, they go 3 wins, 5 losses the rest of the way. And it was hilarious how the Steelers fans and others blamed Russ that the Steelers lost 4 games to close out the season. We knew that going in. They played the Eagles and the Ravens, back-to-back games on the road. Then the Chiefs to complete 3 games in 10 days, followed by a narrow 2-point loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. Those of us who studied the schedule in detail knew that no matter who the Steelers quarterback was, they would struggle to win games down the stretch, and it was going to be dramatic as to whether or not they would make the playoffs. Well, rinse and repeat for 2025. The only difference is, instead of having a nice week 9 bye in the middle of the schedule, it's a month earlier. The other difference is that in addition to tough opponents, the Steelers' rest down the stretch is insane. Of the Steelers' 6 strongest opponents that they're going to have to play this year, they have rest or scheduling disadvantage in 5 of those 6 games. 3-day rest disadvantage versus the Bills, 1-day rest disadvantage versus the Lions, 3 days rest disadvantage versus the Ravens, and a 7-day rest disadvantage versus the Bengals. And also they're playing a short week road game on Cincinnati on Thursday Night Football. From week 13 to 16, they're at a rest disadvantage in 3 out of their 4 games. Week 11 to 16, they're at a rest disadvantage in 4 out of their 6 games. And that's on top of the brutal opponents that they're going to play. And rest will likely be more of an issue for them because of that early bye week that they're playing. By late November and mid-December, this team will be dragging and then playing teams that are more rested. And they just so happen to be teams like the Bills and the Lions and the Ravens. Last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers played 7 games versus teams that had a winning record from week 10 onward, most of any team in the NFL. Unfortunately, their schedule this year is set up for another brutal close to the season, making it extremely unlikely they will have the capacity to win in the postseason or even the ability to survive this gauntlet and make it there.